Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Super Hot crew has been controlling this series so far, 2 wins to 0. Cloud9 Eclipse has to win here in this third game if they want to have a chance at the LCS. It has been a fantastic start, and we have to talk about Selfie because he was the man we thought, and actually was, focused by Cloud9 to begin with, but he has gone big. 5-0-2 you see there in the last game, and of course on Lulu in the first game, he also performed very well.
He was the one member of the Super Hot crew that I was the most concerned about coming into the series, wondering about his champion pool and his ability to play under pressure. And I have no more doubts because his laid-back, chillax style of play is working. He's had 2 phenomenal games, landed everything he's needed to, been there for his team. And as a team, the Super Hot crew couldn't have done better. Their early game is strong. They control dragons. They control towers. They control rotations. They are dictating the pace, and Cloud9 Eclipse has not once tried to interrupt it or grab the reins of control back.
Yeah, they've got to make sure they don't get overconfident, though, because you got to remember, they were in this position before.
They were, but before that, Han Solo actually said, "Don't get cocky, kid." And that's what these kids have to avoid.
Not quite delivered the way that Harrison Ford did, but it's close.
I don't
With
have
a
the
South
voice
African twinge to it,
I don't have
maybe.
the voice for that, I'm afraid.
But yes, they were 2-0 up against SK Gaming.
Yeah.
They lost that 3-2. They did, however, get a second chance, and that's how they got in.
I want to explain why they lost 3-2 to SK Gaming in December of last year. It was
because of Candy Panda?
Number one, but also Impaler didn't get Vi. Games 1 and 2, he was playing Vi. Impaler could only pick up wins on that champion. The moment it was banned away, he had nothing else to default to. He's already played 2 strong junglers this time around. His champion pool is larger, as appears to be the rest of the team.
Well, with 2 games down, we'd like you to know, to tell us rather. We could let you know as well, don't worry. But we want you guys, to tell us who you think will win this series. Tweet us at LOL Esports using the hashtag SHC win for Super Hot crew, or C9E win for Cloud9 Eclipse. We'll check during the match to see who you think will come out on top.
As a reminder, it was 66% in favor of Super Hot crew the last time we checked.
Yeah, and I think 74% over the actual website vote. So you guys definitely have changed your mind, jumped on the Hot crew bandwagon, and maybe with the smiles on their faces, they are feeling confident. It's looking a little bit glum in the Cloud9 Eclipse camp, and no surprises. They're 2-0 down. This is game time. This is basically what they've been building towards throughout the Challenger series. They won the first one. They got to the quarterfinals the second one, and they also won the playoffs. This really is their moment. They have done everything they can to get to this situation.
The games they won, Ku was with them. The games they lost, Ku was not with them. It appears to be the same trend continuing. I do, however, think even if Ku was here, he would need to do a godlike performance to interrupt Super Hot crew's laning and decision-making because they are just on a tear.
So here we go. Picks and bans underway, fast and furious. Aurelia being banned out once again by the Super Hot crew. All 3 games so far. There's the Lulu ban from Cloud9 Eclipse. They still don't want to let that through to Selfie, who is very relaxed right now. Where is the Jax ban once again as well. So Super Hot crew really are focusing on those 2 champions. They have been very much in the meta so far. Again, another ban coming in. This time Yasuo taken away from Selfie. All 3 games so far, and the LeBlanc ban taken away from Febivan, who played it in the first match.
So this is the first time Super Hot crew have deviated from their pick ban strategy since game 1 and 2. They've left Morgana available. While I'm not expecting it to be a first pick, it does allow Cloud9 Eclipse to possibly get their hands onto that champion. I think taking a look at the final bans, Nidalee is still available. Ryze was the final ban out there from Cloud9 Eclipse. So the question is, what do they want to run? Maybe they're not even going to run Nidalee. You know, Super Hot crew did such a great job at shutting Nidalee down. They could let it slide through, and if Cloud9 pick it up, Selfie just say, "I'll just play Fizz again."
He's saying they could let it go.
They could. They could let it go.
Let it go. That's what I think they need to do. Ryze has been taken away, so Mima's not going to get a chance to run that. Scratching his head, wondering what he's going to go with. Will he go with Aranecton? Left it open before, of course. There
Lucian
was
first pick, maybe?
Number of options. We could even see the jungler first pick. No, looks like they can go with that Leona once again. For Mixer has played it very well in the opening 2 matches.
So actually, if I'm looking at the picks and bans, game 1, Leona was first pick for Super Hot crew. Game 2, first rotation for Super Hot crew. Game 3 now, once again, first picking that Leona. We talked about the fact that Morgana was available, and I'm expecting Voidal to pick it up. He has played a lot of Morgana, and Morgana does particularly well against Leonas. if you manage the Black Shield correctly. So we need to see if they eventually lock that in.
It seems there's a switch coming out from Cloud9 there, debating what to go. They did have Blitzcrank hovered over, but I don't think they're going to go with that. Morgana is probably going to get locked in, like you mentioned, was banned out in the last 2 matches, so this time has snuck through the cracks. But Kha'Zix, we saw Impaler running it in Game 2. Santorin in Game 1 is seemingly still the #1 jungler that everybody in Europe focuses on.
Yeah, it's one of the preferred junglers because of the power that you have when you start ganking. Now, Cloud9 are going to roll away from that Morgana. The one thing I do want to touch on, though, is the potential psychological play that Super Hot Crew have done. By not banning Morgana away, we assume it's going to be locked in, which makes you assume Super Hot Crew predicted it and will have a plan to play against it. We'll need to see how the rest of it plays out because all of that is just theory crafting until the champion actually does get locked in.
Renekton, well, I mean, no surprise Renekton got locked in there, but the fact that Aurelia and Jax were taken away to one, me going, well, okay, we're going to play it safe. Ryze was taken away from me, who didn't honestly work out very well the last matchup. And it does mean we're going to see Mima possibly falling back again to Mundo. We could go to Shyvana. We'll see which way it is at the moment. Impaler is going to be going back to his old faithful Vi. It's what worked out for him in those first games against SK Gaming. And of course, Lucian, well, Mr. Rales, no surprises there.
What we're seeing from Cloud9 is early aggression already.
Switch to Twisted Faced in the mid lane for Selfie. This is something new.
It is something new, but
it's something he's been practicing. If you look at the solo queue.
The thing that I like about this is Super Hot Crew have already got, they've got strong initiation, they've got strong split pushing, and they've got strong wave control with that Twisted Fate. There's also added bonus with the Destiny of Twisted Fate that will reveal Kha'Zix in teamfights. One of the biggest difficulties in dealing with that bug in the teamfights when he stealths up is always having a pink ward. And if Santorin finds a moment where he can pick a fight where you don't have vision, all of a sudden, he's in a supremely advantageous position. That will be somewhat countered by the Destiny. What we are seeing from Cloud9, though, is a very aggressive laning phase. Morgana Dark Binding into damage from Twitch is going to be monumentally terrifying if they can land it all. You've got Renekton that wants to be a lane bully and push up. You want Santorin and Kha'Zix that's going to be ganking and moving around the map to try to control the lanes. What I really like about the Twisted Fate pick, though, is if Selfie is a strong Destiny user, he can even try to counter some of those. He can turn those ganks around and turn some of that lane presence. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on Selfie to use it correctly because Cloud9 are going for, in my opinion, probably a very strong laning to mid-game team comp.
And Impaler now going with that choice, of course, had no reason to lock in the Xin Zhao in the last picks. It seems he will go for it this time around. Shyvana will also seemingly be the counter that Mima will go with. Yep, locked it in. And there is Xin Zhao locked in. So fairly similar comp. It is only the mid laner that is different in this Super Hot Crew lineup compared to Game 1.
Yeah, I really like the mix of damage and map control champion. Shyvana's going to become a very strong split
Shyvana's
pusher.
different as well, of course.
And Shyvana's also going to be able to outscale Renekton. You know, we see in the early game Renekton should bully Shyvana around. We need to see how that matchup actually pans out in their favor. But I really like the engage. Leona, Xin Zhao, Shyvana, dive in there. It gives you a strong front line to protect Lucian and TF. And if by some miracle they get engaged upon, Xin Zhao's just going to knock everybody away. Just kick them out. And Febiven is the man to lock in the next champion. He looks stressed. I mean, that is a worried face.
Well, he's actually been having a tough mid lane against Selfie, that's for sure. You know, Selfie has been putting him through the paces. Obviously on the Nidalee in last game, didn't really work out, ended up getting dived and killed pretty early on by the aggression that came out from Selfie, so maybe he's caught them a little bit off guard, and there is Nidalee locked in once again. So we'll see if it works out. They have a very strong comp this time around.
Yeah, so on the side of Cloud9, the Nidalee is somewhat counterintuitive with the rest of the champions. Morgana, Twitch, Renekton, Kha'Zix, they kind of want to be in your face. Spray and pray getting down. Morgana wants to be, you know, soul shackling people up. And if they get dove upon, obviously you're going to use that ultimate defensively. What I don't like is there's not enough peel. So if at any point Super Hot Crew jump onto Cloud9 Eclipse, who's going to protect them? You're going to have one Dark Binding and a Soul Shackles. The moment that's gone, Renekton has a single target stun. There's a very small slow on Kha'Zix, and they're going to be dashing away. What I like to see with Nidalee's is you play Thresh, because you put the box down, you put Flays, you can peel, you can buy time for more javelins. The point being, if Super Hot Crew engage correctly, they should be able to run down Cloud9 Eclipse. The same token, Cloud9 Eclipse's lanes are much stronger in this game, so if they're top, and bottom lane, duo lane, can get ahead, it's going to be much more difficult to engage upon them. So laning phase crucial for Cloud9 Eclipse.
Well, we'll see how this one works out, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the first 2 games have gone to the Super Hot Crew. Can Cloud9 Eclipse turn this one around? It is all on them now. Super Hot Crew, they are 1 foot in towards the summer LCS. Can they complete the job, or will overconfidence become a problem? Nerves definitely a problem right now for Cloud9 Eclipse. You see Hyanan there nearest your screen next to Voidal. The beautiful hair is clearly discussing with his team, clearly the brain, that's what Hyanan is in Swedish, and discussing basically what they've got to do in this, because this is a big, big match.
So during picks and bans, I actually think Voidal was doing more talking than Hyanan, but they're trying to speak up. Laning phase again, super crucial. Let's see what they can do.
Well, we talked about it before, Voidal being the most experienced man on the match right now. We'll see how it works out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 of this best of 5. Super Hot Crew, match point for them. 2-0 up as the blue team up against Cloud9 Eclipse, as the red team desperately trying to get in there. They are the champions of the playoffs for Challenger Series. And of course, they also won that first series. So really, you would argue they are probably the most experienced Challenger team going through. Ninjas in Pajamas, you could argue, also in there. But the glory has gone to Cloud9 Eclipse, but this time around, it's not worked out. Look at the votes, though. 76% for the Super Hot Crew there. Big swing in their favor now after those first 2 games.
They've mirrored their initial vote. Initially, it was 74% in favor of Cloud9 from the website poll. Now 76% in favor of Super Hot Crew. And the way that they've been playing, I'm surprised it's not higher. One thing I do want to note about those lanes, it's only the top and the bottom lane that I feel is going to do very well early on for Cloud9 Eclipse, because Nidalee, of course, pre-6, no wave clear, going to be dealing with a Ghost Flash Twisted Fate. So if at any point Febiven gets shoved into his lane, Selfie's going to have a lot of time to roam. And once again, I'm going to add the disclaimer. Selfie's going to have the onus to use his ultimate correctly, because he should be able to control the wave, he should be able to push Febiven backwards, and he should be able to, in theory, get to a place where he can ultimate and try help out those slightly weaker lanes of his team. First time we're seeing, well, not a first time, we're seeing another invade. This time around, Super Hot Crew pretty committed. It may end up just being a buff steal, though.
But this is a different type of buff steal, because this is a blue for a red, and Super Hot Crew, you would expect, Impaler, of course, is going to have to back away, and they actually may well meet each other in that tri-bush. We'll see how this one works out. Here we go. There's the blue steal coming out. Suntorin's going to be taking that one. They're going to cross themselves their paths.
Duos for
Hyanan
duos.
snuck in. Hyanan's got through.
He's got vision.
They know now that the red buff will have been stolen away. Will they manage to get some damage down? It is going to be Mixer that takes a quick burst of damage. Xin Zhao, Impaler in that mid lane, is going to have Santorin on him any second now. He's going to come around there. He has taken away the large Wraith. He's going to get the 3-talent strike, but look at that. The unseen threat doing the damage from Santorin. And just like that, Taste of Fear works down wonders on Impaler.
Level 1 versus level 2. The buff steal, not worth it at all, because it ends up in Santorin's hands, plus the first blood, plus the experience on that side. Impaler may be playing a little too greedy. Truthfully as well, you don't expect an invade. You generally, the standard is red for red.
But the problem is, the minute that top lane saw Twitch coming out, that bush, they knew that this was changing around. They knew that chances are there was just a blue buff steal, but there was seemingly no warning, no communication, because there was 2 people stood together. Mima backed away. They didn't communicate, didn't protect each other, and just walked away.
Hadn't put 2 and 2 together, and I just think greed. I really think that's just straight up greed. Maybe Impaler underestimating how long it was going to take him to do the Wraith camp, or whether it's just, poor communication. So Santorin with a strong start, got himself that first blood. He's going to get towards his Spur of the Elder Lizard somewhat quicker. Keep in mind, though, that the earlier the first blood is, the less value it is. So pre-4 minutes, God, what was the timestamp on that actual kill? 2:29. So it was roughly 50% of the starting value. It scales from 60% of the value at 2 minutes, all the way up to full value at 4.
Mima may well be the next focus target. There's Oduamne, gets the stun down on towards him. Santorin, by the time he gets here, he's well out of position. It's like he was lagging on land there. It's just impossible, but there we go.
I think he didn't cancel the spell cast, which he had already channeled. So half-hearted attempt. Mixer going aggressive on Hyanan. But this is what we sort of expected. you'll notice that both Mima is being shoved into his lane naturally, into his tower naturally, and Hyanan and Voidal are playing very aggressive on Mr. Rolls and Mixer.
And we should talk about, obviously Mixer's, the fact that he's been going with this Leona constantly, which is why they're banning out Morgana, because Morgana's considered the hard counter to Leona.
In theory.
Well,
now,
obviously, Class, we've seen different plays from NIF, obviously completely proving the theory wrong and completely outplaying the...
This is a very big discussion point, because in my opinion, it's a skill matchup, right? Leona's going to have the option to Zenith Blade a target. If that target has a Black Shield, it means they don't get rooted, but the Zenith Blade still gets channeled, right? So you still follow onto the target. You can then switch and use your Q on Leona, the Shield of Daybreak, to stun a different target. Or alternatively, if you time it well enough, just wait for the Black Shield to time out. So we've seen the matchup go either way. We've seen Morgana's beating Leona, and we've seen Leona's beating Morgana's. And it just comes down to your individual talent
skill,
and targeting.
But
timing.
I would say, in a standard play, that is how it works. So, of course, we have seen NIF doing the old classic. We've seen it in North America as well. You do the Zenith Blade, you flash over and actually do the stun on the opposite person you jumped on towards. We'll see how it works out. Impalo ready and waiting. They're going to go aggressive. Mr. Rale's caught out. Mixer's gone deep, expecting the support. Nobody came. Yeah,
Dark Binding on Mr. Rale's is just keeping him too low. He can't really commit to the fights. Falling slightly behind on CS. And we did see Impala nearby.
Ooh, this is
but that would have been very committed if he went for that.
Mr. Rale is very low. He's just warded up the Tri-Bush. They're going to see Santorin coming in there. The question is, can they get out quick enough?
Summon a heal and exhaust. If Mixer doesn't get the exhaust down before the damage lands on Mr. Rale's, I think he's going to get dropped out. But they did have vision, so they were aware that the potential is there.
Well, Selfie hadn't hit level 6 yet. He's about to, though. Not far off it, and he would be able to join in. He was already starting to make tracks up there. There is 6 for Forbidden. He's going to put some damage down. Stun card on towards him, followed by the wild cards. Forbidden taking some damage. Selfie, we'll see how he does on this one. Destiny is now available, whether he's going to start making those ganks, making those plays.
He will. If there was ever an indication to confirm why I'm so confident, he went Boots Pots as his first item. If you've got Ghost Flash Boots as your first, itemization on a Twisted Fate, you're expecting to get involved. So let's see how Super Haku start this gank on Odoamne. This is 2-on-1.
They're going to go going towards there. 3-time strike available, but again, he can't get close. And Odoamne using the slice and dice that Mima did so well before, followed by the flash. And it makes him get away from that one very easily.
So Ignite burned on the side of Mima just to try and get that kill pressure down. Had Impala gotten that knock-up, maybe it would have worked in his favor, but it did. Mixer eats a Dark Binding.
A lot of poison to boot there. Hyanan putting some serious pressure with Voidal on this lane, and this is the most pressure we've seen on Super Hot Crew in the lane phase.
Yeah, it is because of the lane matchups. I mean, Leona, yes, she can do well, and we've already talked about how Morgana's got tools to deal with Leona, but once Mixer hits level 6, all of a sudden that targeting and that Black Shield timing becomes so much more important. So Santorin, he's got the only kill in the game, going for the blue buff invaded. Febiven will pretend we didn't see that.
Speaking of perfect timing though, that spear was thrown way before his spot. Oh, that probably could have gone better, but instead Santorin will secure it nevertheless. He gets his own blue. He can go across and obviously give Febiven his own blue, but that spear was thrown before it spawned and landed perfect.
That's the second time we've seen that as well. Going for the blue buff invades and Febiven not connecting on the actual golem with the javelin toss. Whether or not that's just nerves or, not setting it up correctly, because I mean, truthfully, Santorin pulled it further away, which meant it was more difficult to hit with. Regardless, blue buff was stolen. Santorin continues to hold on to this very minor lead. And we'll see how quickly Impala can get to the Feral Flare. The standard timings for this series was 15 minutes for Impala's first one. Santorin went 16 minutes for his first Feral Flare.
Mima's getting aggressed upon by Odoamne, but in terms of health, you can see Odoamne obviously still, though, hasn't backed away from that initial gank attempt they had on him. He did go towards that pickaxe, so play the room he will be coming out from Odoamne's Mima. Meanwhile, we'll see whether he does the same, but went Ninja Tabby early on, expecting that early aggression.
We'll see how it pans out for them. I mean, if you look on the side of Cloud9 Eclipse,
Mima should not be winning.
No, he shouldn't. But that's also because Odoamne is he's trying to bully him. So whenever you spend time trying to harass your opponents, naturally you're going to lose some CS. And of course, Impala's gank, forcing Odoamne to lose that flash very early on. We do see Febiven connecting. Javelin toss grabs his blue buff. I think one of the things that's going to be very interesting to see is when Selfie decides to use that Destiny. He's held onto it, but he's motioned as if he was going to use it 2 separate occasions. So doing pretty well at CSing, and actually no, I take that back. He's behind on CS2 a Nidalee pre-6. I don't think that should be the case.
No, he did, as you mentioned, motion towards using that Destiny.
Mima's
That may whip already is. Here comes Santorin. Mima's in all sorts of trouble. He's going to use that Dragon Descent, but he's not going to get him far enough away, or is it? Santorin's going deep on this one. He's tower dived. Impala comes in. He can get the revenge kill. Or can he? The damage going down. There's the tower hit doing it. And the double buffs return to Impala.
Impala avenges his initial death. Because Santorin went deeper than maybe he should have, Odoamne did not back him up, didn't go with him, so it ended up being a very difficult situation to get out of. 1-for-1 kill credit on Impala, and he's working towards, of course, that Wriggles Lantern. Let's see if Selfie comes in behind Odoamne. There's a red buff there on Rinnex.
Destiny card comes in. Is it too much? There's the stun on the tower, and now Selfie's got double buffs.
Everybody wants double buffs. We need to keep an eye on how long these double buffs actually last. Because now I'm anticipating a gank.
Wildcard missed that for sure.
Those wildcards went a little wild in that bottom lane. So Selfie now going to return to the mid lane. That's actually the second time we've seen those sort of gank situations where Impala or Mima have underestimated their opponent. You know, they've gone in for that 2v1 situation and ended up giving up a kill, whether it's because of timing or something else you can, of course, argue.
Tiamat now built up by Odoamne. Could argue that if it had backed up originally with Santorin instead of diving in the tower on his own, he would have secured himself 2 kills there. Here we go, Mixer getting caught out there, but he can quick culling being used onto Voidland, actually doing some very good damage. He has got that BF sword on him, but of course, not a great deal of armor on Voidal's part, just that health regen. But Super Hot Crew, they're going to try and start these rotations. Pink Ward's going to get cleared out, and Impala actually putting Pink Ward of his own down in that bush and still keeping themselves safe.
I like the positioning from Impala. Had anything happened in terms of ganks or had Santorin jumped in there, then you could have seen a situation where they could have done a counter gank. Regardless, it didn't work out that time around. Pink Ward was cleared, and you'll notice that Selfie has gone for the Sheen. I'm expecting the Lich Bane as the first item, which is somewhat non-traditional, but again, it's just going to play movement speed, tower pressure, and side lane gank.
Oh, this is maybe the first dragon of the game, Cloud9 and Clip. Definitely the first dragon of this game. I'm thinking the first dragon of maybe the series, I'm not too sure. Certainly the first one around, because it's been Super Hot Crew that have been securing that first dragon for the last 2 games. Cloud9 Eclipse warding out that bush, and rightly so, because Impala is looking to try and push towards his top turret, the first one of the game, possibly for Super Hot Crew.
Very smart play to get the dragon on the side of Cloud9. It was once a very smart decision. We do see tower falling in the top,
bottom
and
lane.
It looks like they want to dive onto Mima. Santorin's denying the minion wave. They're going on him.
They're going to go towards him. Mima going to use that Dragon Descent. He's going to try and run away, keep the distance from Santorin, who has taken a couple of tower hits here. Mima's done a good job, but the damage coming out for Odoamne, now that he's got, of course, that on the Tiamat on towards him, is too strong. We did see a little bit of motion. Mima, though, using that burnout, trying to get the distance! And he gets away with it. Very well played, Mima.
The Ninja Tabi is a very big reason as to why he got away. All those auto attacks that were threaded in between the spell cast had the damage reduced. Giant Spell early pickup as well, in addition to the bonus armor and magic resist you get from Dragon's Descent, means he actually tanked for a very long time. Odoamne and Santorin were never on Mima for a prolonged period of time. It was one or the other, really trying to shut him down. And that was super, super close, but Mima gets away with his life.
Very well played. Of course, the tower wins to Super Hot Crew, the first one of the game. That was in that top lane. So we're going to have a switch around. It is going to be Mr. Alice and Mixer making their way down towards his bottom lane now. We will see Mima. He's already up towards that top half of the map. Selfie in its mid lane, still falling behind on Forbiven on this farm. And Yanan, he's trying to stealth his way into lane, but, well, you can already see Selfie's backed the hell out of there.
So it's kind of weird to see Hyonan making that sort of stealth gang play with a Bloodthirster. And the reason I think it's a little weird, traditionally when you go for that ambush-style Twitch, it's Blade of the Rune King that you go for, because it allows you to slow your opponent down. When you consider he's trying to gank a Nidalee who has no innate crowd control anyway, it allows you to use that spray and pray and stick to a target. So Hyonan going for a Bloodthirster is, to me, talking more about a big team fight and hitting multiple members and sustain, and not necessarily that ambush assassination type situation. Santorin, once again, trying to make a play on Mima. Mima does not have Dragon's Descent yet, but I think he's going to get away.
He's got the burnout running, he's got a tower. Santorin's going to put some good damage down towards him. Destiny comes down, they're going to try and reverse this one. Dangerous, dangerous stuff. Spray and pray being coming out there. It's not rat-a-tat-tat just yet. Instead, they're going to jump on towards Yanan. Yanan with the ignite on him does back away safe. And Impala, if it had been a little bit closer, could have got damage down, but they have left that mid turret exposed to Febiven.
And remember, Destiny reveals Twitch as well as Kha'Zix when they're stealthed up, so Selfie was able to land that gold card the moment he came in. I'm not entirely convinced by the positioning of that Destiny. It was a little odd, but nevertheless, they don't manage to secure the kill. We do see Selfie deviating somewhat from item path. We just need to see what he builds, because he did go something like 67 or 70% cooldown reduction in the first game of the day. Right now got himself that needlessly large rod as well as an amp tome.
And while we're on the focus of Twitch, I'd like to thank the developers for changing that beautiful spray and pray ultimate to rat-tat-tat-tat.
No, there's
That's
one
going to be an
T2
interesting one.
You gave it one T2. It's rat-tat-tat-tat.
Tat-tat.
Yes, that's the correct. That is the correct way.
It's beautiful.
As somebody.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. I know you guys are listening over in Los Angeles, in the Santa Monica office, so we're fully appreciative of the changes you keep doing.
One thing I also want to briefly touch on this Twisted Fate pick, and something that's very interesting because of how important the lane swaps and the tower pushing game has become in. Some people are calling it a split push meta at the moment, although this series hasn't necessarily been about that. Twisted Fate is just so incredibly strong in those positions. He can push lanes very well. If he needed to run Exhaust into Assassins, it's a very powerful place to be. And it's interesting because Twisted Fate fell completely out of favor. Towards the end of last year, we didn't see him really at all, and now he's shining once again.
Impaler is continuing to try and build that Feral Flare. Hasn't quite got it yet. Is some way behind right now in his build, of course, but it is continuing to go. Went for that Ninja Tabby as well. Maimer in this top lane, he's continuing that farm going. He's kept up very well with Odoamne. Selfie getting aggressive on Odoamne, putting a lot of damage. The Ignite should be enough to finish him off. It's going to be Febiven that will steal it with a secure spear.
That was very well played by Odoamne. Using the slice and dice through the minions and really just getting onto Selfie super quickly. Well coordinated, and going to give them another kill. So Cloud9 Eclipse holding even in gold, despite being down a tower. Keep in mind they did grab a dragon though.
And keep in mind that there is a Twisted Fate on the board for Super Hot Crew, which in itself will give himself a chunk of gold. But 16 minutes gone, they are pushing
600 bonus gold so far on Twisted Fate.
There we go. They've technically got themselves a nice lead. There's the tower going down in the mid lane, the all-important one. And for the first time, Cloud9 Eclipse really taking the lead coming out of the lane phase.
It is almost expected because of the fact that they've got these champions that do shine early on in terms of their top and their bottom lane. What we need to keep an eye on is how they now transition to this mid game. Now Cloud9 need to ensure their waves are controlled and managed well, because Selfie will be able to respond. He's got a Sheen, which is going to amplify his damage to towers, and assuming the minions are working with him, we should see once again like these tower pushes. If it's available, Selfie and Impaler or Maimer, there's tower killing power if they can rotate quickly enough.
Yeah, they are 3-1 up in towers, and this time with the Dragon up in 10 seconds time. Super Hot Crew are ready and waiting to pounce on this one. There's no teleport for Maimer. He's got to get his boots moving. He's actually teleporting back to base, while Cloud9 Eclipse are ready and waiting to go. Don't think they quite have the timer on this one. Cloud9 Eclipse have started it off already. Maimer, a long way from this fight.
Cloud9 cannot risk being caught by a solar flare. If 2 or 3 members get hit by it, that is exactly how they'll win the fight. But this is 3v5. This is brave from Mixer.
Solar Flare goes in. Mixer going deep on this one. You can see that's the ultimate coming out for Voidal. Mixer has gone down. The first death of the series for him. Impaler in trouble. He gets dropped. He did manage to get the Dragon locked up there. Selfie flashes away. He's got the stun card pulled already. Manages to pull it on towards Santorin. Maimer now keeping him at bay, and they will back off. It's a 2-death for Super Hot Crew, but they secured the Dragon.
Yeah, very well played by Impaler to secure the Dragon, but Super Hot Crew committed 3v5. I mean, at the end of the day, they threw themselves into a situation where they were outnumbered and they were outgunned. So they gave up 2 kills. I still think overall net gain in favor of Super Hot Crew. You can see they've closed that gold lead that Cloud9 had built up and accrued for them. But they can't run the risk of doing those sorts of plays against. That's the first risky, questionable play we've seen from Super Hot Crew, I think, all series long.
Well, Febiven has completed that Rabadon's death cap now. No boots still picked up by that Nidalee, but working out well. Coming out of the lane phase and looking very strong. Santorin himself has evolved his wings. He's starting to look strong as well. That Hex Trigger was completed. Now starting to build it towards yet more items with that Elder Lizard completed a long time ago. Still no sign from Impaler of that Feral Flare. Still trying to build it up. hasn't been able to
close.
buy himself a lot of time, really. And the fact that we're coming up to 19 minutes, it's a very long one. There is the Feral Flare finally completed 19 minutes in. And now Mima continuing to be aggressive. This time around, though, Shyvana will start getting stronger, but you can see he's a full item behind Odoamne now.
Yeah, Odoamne is doing very well. He's got a bunch of kills to his name. At this point, Shyvana's levels and items are going to start swinging more in Shyvana's favor, and there's more tools, I think, in Shyvana's kit to split push. So let's see if Odoamne can control. They're tracing him down.
There's the flash, does manage to catch on towards him. That's going to be the knock-up any second if Impala can get one step closer, but Mima actually knocked him away from him. And Impala is going to have the cooldown. He's going to get the Audacious charge back on towards him. Dominus comes out, slice and dice from Odoamne. Has he got away from this one? He has! A great escape, but while this is happening, there's a big push on the bottom.
4 members of Cloud9 are shoving the bottom wave. Selfie is pushing in the mid wave. This could end up being a tower trade for tower trade. Let's see if Mixer and Mr. Rolls can defend.
Impala's running down towards that mid lane. There's going to be the solar flare. That's a 4-man dive from Mixer straight on towards him. Voidland and Hyanan taking a lot of tower damage. Hyanan taking very low from that one. He has to back away. There's the mid inner turret going down. They're rotating towards the top.
Mixer and Mr. Rolls defend against 4 members of Cloud9. Selfie is just about to get his destiny available, and 3 members of Super Hot Crew are now on this top turret. If a gold card connects on Odoamne, I think they're going to dive him. Selfie's got turret aggro.
Wildcard goes through, does manage to put some damage back on towards him. Impala continues the damage on the tower. A second inner turret for the Super Hot Crew picked up. What a great rotational play, and more importantly, fantastic defensive work down that bottom tower.
5 versus 2 in terms of towers. Super Hot Crew sneak 2 turrets under the nose of Cloud9 Eclipse, while Cloud9 were in a 4 versus 2 situation. The reason that didn't go well for Cloud9, Nidalee doesn't want to tower dive. There's no damage reduction of tower shots on Kha'Zix with his ultimate anymore, so he doesn't want to tower dive. And Morgana is okay at tower dive, but she's so squishy. She simply can't take turret aggro long enough to make that work. So at the end of the day, Cloud9 come away in a very poor position.
Destiny being used for vision from Selfie. He's going to go down towards that bottom lane, actually back away. It was like, I'm going to take this wave, and I think he got told off by Mima actually there. He was like, no, you don't, you dare. They did actually check Baron there, Cloud9 Eclipse, because, of course, remember, Super Hot Crew have snuck in there and taken that a couple of times. Around about the 25-minute mark, they were a little early on that one, but it was a full concerted effort. They had no vision there, and 4 members moved towards that Baron because they were expecting Super Hot Crew to back for it.
So because Mima hasn't built any attack damage yet, like a Blade of the Ruined King or similar, I think it's going to be much more difficult for Super Hot Crew to pull off the same strategy, because they'll need Mr. Rolls and Impala to be in that scenario. And if they get caught out, they're in trouble. Right now, 4 members of Cloud9, that's Selfie going super far forward.
Selfie caught out. Zonya's Hourglass being used straight away, though. Mixer going very deep. Solar Flare doing work. That's going to be Odoamne going down. A quick turnaround. Santorin does manage to take down Mixer. Santorin getting caught out, stunned up. Selfie throwing out the wildcard. Mima coming from behind. There's the Dragon Descent straight on towards him. He's 4 men deep straight in towards the rest of the team catching up towards him. Puts damage down on towards Hyanan. Hyanan taking full burst from Mr. Rallis. One more hit should do it. Mima tries to flash for it. He gets it secured with the Ignite.
And we'll see if it carries on. Voidal's knocked up.
Voidal caught out. He gets stunned and knocked out. He's down as well. It's a 3-for-1 so far. The Super Hot Crew are turning this fight on its favor. And now they're moving towards Baron.
This is so risky. If Cloud9 are aware of this and Febiven moves in to throw those javelins out, yeah, that was very, I think, smart to back away. Had javelins been thrown in there, it would have been very difficult. Now, in terms of the fight starting, Selfie actually gets away with his life thanks to some smart itemization. He avoided a lot of damage thanks to that Zonya's Hourglass, and Febiven lands some very key javelins later on as this fight drags out. So keep your eyes on Selfie's HP. Dark Bindings are good from Voidal. Because Mima's got no Bilgewater Cutlass or no Blades of the Ruined King, he's not a particularly strong threat. Oh, Ignite. Flash for Ignite, which is how Mima managed to grab that one. And basically the long-range skill shots from Cloud9 prevented anything worse from happening because they dealt enough damage, but it was a good response from Super Hot Crew. Because nobody got blown up instantly, they could run Cloud9 down, and their comp is just better at chasing. And that's what we talked about. No peel. No peel from Cloud9. Teamfights don't go their way.
Now they are looking to engage again. Those spears not landing just yet. We did see Febiven landing one on Selfie in that fight. And that's what forced him very low. Did also just land one on towards Mixer a moment ago. Cloud9 Eclipse starting out the Baron. Destiny being used, taking full vision of this one. Solar Flare going down. Selfie's coming around the side. He's already on towards Santorin. Santorin very, very low. There's going to be the Zhonya's, but it doesn't matter. Impaler's dived in. Febiven's taken low. Mima finishes the job. Odowane, the next focus. He's going to get bounced by that 3-talent strike. Mr. Rales takes him down. Selfie gets himself another obliteration for the Super Hot crew as they take 4 members of Cloud9 Eclipse down.
And the Dragon is available to their choosing. They don't even want it. It looks like they're going straight for Baron. They've got high death timers on the side of Cloud9. That was just such a great team fight. Super Hot crew commit to the team fight. Mima was coming in from the north of the jungle from Cloud9 Eclipse. And Selfie with the super confident Destiny jumps straight into the middle of the team and immediately pulls all the focus. Flawless execution from Super Hot crew, and that was the control that we've seen from games 1 and 2.
So Baron going their way from that fight. Mixer, you gotta be careful he doesn't go down. Just getting stacked up a little bit there, but now it is a 6,000 gold advantage built up. Hyanan still pushing his bottom wave in. He may just about get himself time, but I don't think he fancies it. He's, of course, got that stealth mechanic where he can escape, but still got to be careful with that Destiny available by Selfie. Hyanan will back away, and they're going to go for Dragon. It's going to be some gold at least for them, but they've got to be careful because Super Hot crew are already moving in.
Yeah, I don't know if Super Hot crew will get there in time, though. So Dragon will be going over uncontested Cloud9. They've lost their red buff, though, as Mima has actually picked that one up himself. He's going full tank on the Shyvana. I'm still not seeing any attack damage from him. And the only reason I highlight that, had he gone attack damage, one of the best ways to deal with a Nidalee is to engage upon it over and over. And it's something we've seen many times in the past. If you have those aggressive comps, but you don't pull a trigger, you allow yourself to get sieged upon. And because Cloud9 have got so little peel, it's only Morgana that's going to be doing that for them. You dodge one of those Dark Bindings, and if you can wait out the Soul Shackles, there's nothing else to stop you. Nothing else to stop you. So Super Hot crew have just run rampant over Cloud9. Now they've got their items and their levels.
Big tank here, like mentioned. So Super Hot crew move in. They take themselves the blue buff. It will be Selfie that locks that one down. And we see once again, are we going to have a 4-1 split coming out from Super Hot crew? You can see Mima all in his own in his top lane. He's happy to keep on pushing.
Super Hot crew can go for a 1-3-1 if they want to. Shyvana's a great split pusher, Twisted Fate is a great split pusher, and Twisted Fate can rejoin a fight as well. So if Super Hot crew wanted to keep their groups together, I mean, that's Destiny being used from Selfie. Again, just to get vision, have information, and now they're going to push up this inner turret. So very smart play. The champions are going to allow Super Hot crew the map control that they have earned. And thanks to being so beefy, Cloud9 need to land some very, very good spears if they want to prevent losing their inhibitor turrets in the next couple of minutes.
That even comes down, but it's only a half-hearted defensive job from Cloud9 Eclipse here, throwing them spears out, trying to prevent really lower the minion count, if anything, which is what we're seeing coming out from Hyanan, trying to clear out the minions, making sure that those inhibitor towers are safe. There's a big wave pushing in towards the top there. Mima's actually rotated around towards the mid lane right now to keep that wave pushing in, and the rest of the Super Hot crew are going to gang up here. They've still got that Baron buff on. You can see Mixer off at the side. They're really wanting to start something off with that Solar Flare.
Yeah, if you look at the wards that Super Hot crew have through the jungle, they can't get flanked by Cloud9, and Cloud9 have got very limited wave clear. I think when that Venom cask is not down, it's going to be very difficult. And Pilot took a good chunk of damage there from Odowane, but it's not going to be enough. He should be regenerating it not too long, thanks to that Baron buff and, of course, the on-hit health that his Feral Flare is going to give him.
Selfie's taking a quick burst from Hyanan. Odowane actually taking down a fair chunk of health. Remember, he hasn't built massively tanky this time around. He'd start off with that Tiamat, has got himself the Sunfire Cape and Banshee's Veil now, though. Mima rotates back towards the top. Again, 4-1 split, continuing this working out there. Selfie's this time taking a spear. And those spears are slowing things down here. They do see Mr. Rales caught out. It's not going to be enough. Blocked off by Mima. That was a spear and a Dark Binding catching on towards him.
And Summoner Heal used. Mr. Rales actually popped it there, maybe in anticipation of somebody diving onto him. So Summoner Spell blown on the side of Super Hot crew, and that's exactly what Cloud9 need to do many times more if they wish to defend these towers, because Super Hot crew are showing no signs of backing off. With the minion wave on the bottom and Baron still up for another 20-odd seconds, they will keep sieging. When Baron is off, I wouldn't be surprised if they backed away and played it safer.
Relentless aggression coming out from Mixer as he dives in towards this one. Selfie taken low. Doesn't get the Zhonya's Hourglass off in time. Voidal's going to get dropped by Mr. Rales. Or is he? Gets away. Febiven taken low. That's going to be him down. Mr. Rales gets picked on. This is actually actually a back and forth sloppy fight from both teams. Odoamne now on the turret is going to fight this one out. Voidal's going to try and come in with one of those dark bindings to keep him at bay, and Paler, once he gets that dash on towards him, will find himself one. Will he get a second? No, the Zenith Blade not quite landed from Mixer. They're going to have to back out of this one. It was a messy engage, but it was a 3-for-2 again in favor of Super Hot Crew.
3-for-2, and the super squishy targets on Super Hot Crew are down. That's not over yet.
They're not done yet. Odoamne has a lot of damage with that Tiamat. Mixer's going to get caught down. That's a 3-for-3. Impaler caught out. They're going to try and turn this one back around. Odoamne is doing damage. Mimer's going to get focused now. He has to use the burnout to try and escape. Impaler is getting locked down. There's no escape for him. 3 talent strike is not enough for him, and Odoamne will run him down like he should do, and that's a 4-for-3 in favor of Cloud9 Eclipse, and they held on to the tower against a Baroned up Super Hot Crew.
I don't know if Super Hot Crew needed to tower dive. They still had Baron up. They still had siege potential. If you get a couple auto attacks from Twisted Fate with that Lichbane on a tower, it'll take a few waves before it goes down. It could have been the urgency of Baron running out and the fact that Mr. Rolls had eaten a few too many dark bindings that made them dive and force it. It could also be somewhat of overconfidence, considering how far ahead they've been elsewhere in the series. At the end of the day, Cloud9, they defend it, they hold onto the turret, which is the most important thing, but they are still 6,000 gold down. So they need Super Hot Crew to continue doing those same ill-advised dives, or look for more poke before they can regain some semblance of control in this game.
And the selfie, of course, he didn't even get a chance to use that Zhonya's in that fight. He was taken down so quickly at the start of it, so a lot of the damage was immediately removed from that fight. So Baron up, 1.5 minutes, Dragon a minute. Let's see which one they're going to go for. Super Hot Crew are trying to keep Cloud9 Eclipse penned in towards their base as they push these waves back in towards them. And Cloud9 are doing a good job at keeping them clear at the moment.
Cloud9 actually defended that very, very well. I mean, all things considered, they held in the bottom lane, they held in the top lane. They performed well in the team fight. I still want to reiterate that I would like to see damage on Mimer. Yana's in trouble.
Yana's going to get caught out. The stun card along with that DFG doing that. Tell you what, it's not a DFG. There's going to be the Zhonya's being used out there. Lichbane was the one that did the damage. Mr. Rales closes out the deal on towards Febivan. We did also see Hyanan going down. Santorin's going to run away. I think they're happy to let him escape though. That's going to be the stun card followed by the damage. There's a double kill as Odoamne goes down. Super Hot Crew have themselves 3-for-0 as they push on through to try and close the game out.
This is going to be an inhibitor at the very least, and if they get some minion support, they may be able to push down the Nexus turrets. You know what? With Mimer and Impaler, they can just tank up those Nexus turrets. It looks like they've done it.
Super Hot Crew are pushing through. Both inhibitors now go down. Can they close this series out 3-0? They are thinking of backing away here. And they are playing it safe. Well, Baron is up, and that's going to be the focus.
We got too excited. Death timers were running low. Febivan and Hyanan were going to be able to defend that Nexus, and of course, Spray and Pray was available to Hyanan. So, erring on the side of caution, Super Hot Crew back away. Super minions in 2 lanes. They're going to secure themselves at Baron. And just to finish off the point, I feel like had Mimer gone for a little bit of damage early on, all of those dives could have been quite drastically different because he would have had more kill threat on Cloud9. But that is just hindsight giving you the ability to make those questions. At the end of the day, Baron secured first one of this particular series for Super Hot Crew, and they've got themselves a nice 10,000 gold.
Got themselves the turret and the dragon for Cloud9 Eclipse though. They are not out yet, but they are very, very close. It is 2 inhibitors down, just 1 remains, that bottom lane. They have to hold on tight while those super minions push in and the Baron up Super Hot Crew push on through. They've been so tight in these team fights, but the last one, they were simply caught out, picked off, and that's exactly what Cloud9 are looking to do right now.
This is going to be so difficult to defend because Cloud9 don't have the greatest wave clear. Voidal is going to get caught out. He's going to be in so much trouble. Destiny's been used.
Destiny coming down, Mixer getting caught, but look at that. He's got over 4,000 hit points. He doesn't care. Hyanan in trouble. He gets insta-popped. Now it's going to be Voidal. Culling doing all of the damage. Mr. Rales going crazy on this one. He does manage to lock himself down another. Well, Febivan completely out of position. Super Hot Crew just follow these super minions straight through to the Nexus.
There are 3 members of Cloud9 to defend against 5 members of the Super Hot Crew. Mimer actually using the Dragon's Descent to get into the Nexus turrets even quicker. We touched on the fact that there's very little wave clear for Cloud9, so defending against multiple waves of super minions was always going to be difficult. It's been amplified now because they don't have the AD carrier support. This is game.
Very well played. Super Hot Crew looked strong throughout this one. They are going to re-qualify for the Summer League of Legends Championship Series. The Super Hot Crew are back in once again.
3-0. And truthfully, you never once felt like they were in doubt. They had absolute immaculate control. And even when they were behind in game 3, they played patiently, they got control of the game, and they closed it out.
Fantastic stuff. And honestly, all credit to them. They've deserved it in this game for sure. 3-0, wasn't quite expecting that. I actually expected this one to go the distance. And Cloud9 Eclipse, you know, that again, these challenger teams, when they come through, the experience that is gained by the LCS teams, simply playing at that higher level, really against, you know, the top teams, the rotations, clearly, these are things that, while they've seen, they've watched, they've never had the chance to completely figure out how to do it themselves, or more importantly, how to counter it.
Completely agree with you, and I think Super Hot Crew really raised their level. You know, you look at game 3, like, game 1 and 2 was all about Super Hot Crew. They controlled Cloud9. They prevented Cloud9's game plan from ever getting into speed and picking up tempo. Game 3, Super Hot Crew were playing from behind. They were a few thousand gold down, but they didn't panic. Impala still landed the smite steals on Dragon. They picked the fights that they wanted to and they needed to, and they won them, crucially. And when you look at Super Hot Crew in that game, in this series, they are playing better than they did in the last few weeks of LCS. The change to selfie now is paying dividends.
Yeah, we're going to see how that works out for them, because of course they are into this summer series, the LCS. That's the one that everybody wants to get in. That's the one that leads to the World Championships, of course, which will be in Korea this year. Fantastic performance from them. Fantastic performance from every player. And you got to think of maybe like Mixer maybe stepped up his play. He died a few times, went a little bit over-aggressive. We kind of saw glimpses of the old Mixer in that last final game, but overall he hadn't died before that third match.
Know what was great though? Regardless of the aggression, whether you want to argue if it was over-aggression or not, the rest of the team sure as hell backed them up.
Yeah.
Every single time he jumped in there, whether the solar flare was 100% accurate or not, everybody piled in. It was very good teamwork, very good control. And that was a team. When you watch that game, no single person really stood up and completely dominated and like solo carried the series. It was good team play, it was good rotations, it was good shot calling. And that's 2 for 2 now. Yesterday, Millennium requalified. Today, Super Hot Crew requalified. Both of the former, almost ex, potentially relegated LCS teams have requalified. And that was a very good performance from Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, of course, Copenhagen Wolves going up against Denial next. Interesting to see how it's going to work out, because they are the kings of rotation. They are, I would say, the more experienced team in this. Of course, they finished 6th in the LCS. They were in the playoffs against Gambit, and it was literally down to the last match against Gambit. So this is a big ask in the next match. But of course, all credit goes to Cloud9 Eclipse. They put up a great show throughout the Challenger series, but unfortunately they fell short this time around.
It is heartbreaking when you consider Ko was unable to play for them. Ko is their jungler.
That's maybe the interesting thing. Maybe will they go back to him? Will they sit with Santorin? Will they manage to go through the next Challenger series with him? Because of course there is a summer Challenger series which will lead to the spring.
You have to feel they want to go back to him at some point, because he was a very integral voice in the team. We heard in the feature early on they've lost some of the shot calling from Ko, and they've lost that voice, and also his plays in the early game. Santorin showed up. Game 1 of the series, Santorin picked up 2 good kills early on, was ganking multiple times, kept Mima down.
He got first blood in this game again.
Exactly, and I was impressed, but unfortunately, it didn't translate to mid-game control, and that's what matters. Because he started okay, it didn't continue. That trend didn't stay true, and that's something that I think ended up costing Cloud9 over the course of the series.
So where do we see Super Hot Crew? They're moving back into the LCS. How do they progress now? How do they step it up so they're not in this situation again?
Honestly, I think they have to continue on this trend. I think we've seen deeper champion pools. We've seen a much smarter pick ban phase. All of the games, and even in the games where they had a comp that needed to win early, they executed that comp well.
I mean, you look at pretty much the one-dimensional Super Hot Crew that you saw getting 2 days before the LCS began. You see them now. We talked about champion pools, how limited they were. You could argue Mima's still limited in the top lane. Impala definitely seems to have stepped it up a little bit, although he played Shinzao pretty excessively this time around.
Even if you want to call Mima out for some of his champions, at this moment in time in the current meta, his champions are in.
Yeah.
So yes,
he fits.
He may be somewhat things, but my favorite double AP comp was the Lissandra Gragas composition that Super Hot Crew ran a while ago, and Mima played Lissandra and played it perfectly. So he can play other champions as well. And I just think if the team continues this trend, this shot calling, this rotations, they can work around the rest of their picks and bans.
And maybe just one day we will see Rengar, Who knows? We'll see whether he gets able to play. Shocks our Super Hot Crews, Mr. Rales and Impaler with her after that win. So let's send it over to her.
Thank you very much, D-Man. First up, congratulations, guys, back into the LCS. And, well, in very convincing fashion, a quick 3-0 here. And, Mr. Raleigh, how are you going into this series? Because we've seen the fan vote was very in favor of C9. Maybe some people were doubting how you guys would come out here.
We doubt a little bit as well because our practice didn't go as good as we wanted to. So yeah, we just tried our best and tried to come up with the best tactic we possibly could do.
So how good was 4.5 and the practicing on that for you, Impaler? Is that something you like as a jungler this patch?
I still think because you can get the Feral Flare so fast on that patch that there's no real downside to go Feral Flare and pick them safe lanes like we did. And yeah, I just utilized that and kind of shut down Santorin in that way.
Was that the game plan from the beginning? Because it seemed like basically whatever you guys did worked out pretty well, and especially you on Zinzao, but even so on Kha'Zix.
We saw yesterday when Alberto on NiP was playing and they kept on going Feral Flare against him. And unless you can really force that early aggression, you kind of struggle and you get outscaled. So I just thought, can Santorin try and shut me down early? Third game, he pretty did. But other than that, I think we did well and we didn't get shut down. We just outscaled. Yeah,
you outscaled. And as a team, you guys performed phenomenally, actually. How are the nerves? A little birdie told me that you were especially quite nervous going into the series. Of course, people are always saying, how will Mr. Raleigh do? Does it get to you?
It actually got to me a lot in the first game. I was very, very nervous. It's mostly because people expect me to actually play well. It's not that we're playing promotion match. It was just because of that.
But then the game actually, did you feel immediately, wow, it seems like the whole team is on a different level than they have been back in week 11 when you guys went 0-4 and might have crept in a little scared then, but you guys were very solid.
Yeah, like after the first game, I think we were all very calm. And that's just allowed us to snowball even further in the next games.
You say everyone was very calm, yet all the way upstairs in the cast room, we heard Mixa screaming at everything that was good. Is that always a positive thing that you get encouraged by what he's yelling, or sometimes are you like, oh my God, I just want to do this?
Mixer's like a really emotionally attached player, so when he's really pumped, he shows it and he screams nice, louder than anyone can in the studio, I think. And yeah, it's just really good when you have him behind you when he's playing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little more about that, because we know he sometimes goes in very aggressive, but here he was also confident and actually made a lot of plays happen for you guys.
Yeah, I think Leona really complements Mixer's playstyle because there was a turret defense, 2v4 bot lane, and he's like, yeah, I'm just going in. And Rally's followed it, and they like 4v2'd, well, 2v4'd. It was really incredible, actually.
Yeah, when you were defending that tower, were you questioning Mixer's going in right there? But you guys made it.
Yeah, a little bit, because I was supposed to just clear the way with my ultimate, but they tanked it. And I guess we should just back off, but immediately he just went in and face tanked 4 people. But yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, it was actually very impressive from you guys. So taking a step back, you guys had that first split in the LCS. We all know that it was very fast for you guys coming in. Now you have an entire split. You can decently prepare. Impaler, what is the main thing you guys are going to work on going into the next split?
We can still really improve our team play. Like, we're really strong 5 players, but to compete with the best teams, you have to rotate as a team. You have to understand what happens when like TF ult top. Someone has to be mid to cover it. Like 20% turret damage can be the difference between losing that mid turret early and then losing dragon control. You've just got to know what everyone's thinking and react accordingly.
Mr. Raleigh, what about you? I can assume you're pretty happy about your own performance in the last split, always doing good, even if the team sometimes wasn't doing that well. You guys worked together now, proved you can do it. Is there room for improvement on your personal play, you think?
Yeah, I have a lot to improve. I need to be more confident, but I need to be at least more confident in team play. Because what I've improved on in the split was my individual play, because things wasn't really working for us. And in this split, I think I have to work a little bit more on the team.
Yeah, absolutely showed that when you guys come together, it is a very, very good thing. And you guys quickly 3-0'd C9 here. Impaler, is there anything you want to say to the fans, the Super Hot Crew fans who are sticking by you?
Yeah, every Super Hot Crew fan, I love you. And like a special shout out to my friends back at home as well. And yeah, always behind Super Hot Crew. Got so many good fans, I love them.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. We'll be seeing you guys in the summer split, of course. I'd also like to take the time to thank Dexter for his analysis here. After a break, we'll be joined by Expeckia for more insight. Now for now, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, it is time for the Copenhagen Wolves to fight Denial for the final spot in the summer split. Don't go anywhere.
Let's win this first before you begin and act big.
Nice!
Whoa. Boy,
Nice!
oh, beautiful.
Nice, guys.
Kill twist, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm on Rennie, I'm on Rennie.
Nice.
Holy
Nice!